Well, hello, Miss Holly Meyer Lucas. Welcome to the show. I am so girl crushing over here, excited to have you on. I know it makes you super uncomfortable, but it's okay. It's the truth. So
It
tell
does. It makes
all
me so
of,
uncomfortable. Does it make you feel uncomfortable too when people when your friends do that
yes,
to you?
it kind of does. I know it happens to me too, but it really is. I do really have an admiration for you. Been watching you for years. Full disclosure, Holly and I have a very special connection through the wonderful sport of baseball, specifically professional baseball. So we'll tell you about that later. But Holly, tell everyone who doesn't know you who you are, where you're from, and what you do in the real estate world.
Yes. So my name's Holly Meyer Lucas. I'm in Jupiter, Florida, which is between Miami and Orlando. Market's been crazy here as it has been everywhere, but especially crazy in South Florida. I'm a team leader. I have a team of 30 at this point. I've been in the business for almost a decade, and a big piece of my business is empowering agents and women, and specifically women making the career change between something that they have their degree in and that they've loved forever and ever, and then transitioning into real estate. I'm really passionate about that. And I know my girl Barb from all these events. I think there's something to be said about like the network that you have that comes from like-minded events and like-minded like community, you know?
For sure. For sure. For sure.
If you're
Yeah.
a Barb person, we're gonna be friends too.
Right? Exactly. Well, and truth be told, I first caught on to Holly through Instagram, through social media. And I actually caught on to her because she was, talking about being a baseball wife and being, right, having a husband in the professional baseball world. And you were talking about your spring training part of your business, right, where you house a ton of players that come into Florida for spring training. And I was like, oh, this girl's in real estate and a connection to baseball. We need to be
My
friends.
people.
So I was silent stalking you, right? And just watched consuming everything. And then we obviously started chatting and then met at events, and the rest has been history. So
It's so refreshing. Like, right? I don't think that there are very many of us that have
no,
I say this all the time. I think that my business with the professional athletes, like it's been both a blessing and a curse because, right, like our husbands are everywhere all the time, blah, 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 all the things. If you want me to go down that rabbit hole, we can. I'm going to skip it. But I think that if you move a lot, just in anything that you do, like the best agents that I have are the ones that have had corporate careers where they've moved a bunch. It's funny, like I hear all the time, like the thing to boast on if you're a real estate agent often is that you're from whatever hometown, wherever it is. Like I'm born and bred here, like hire me because I'm born and raised here. And for me, it's always been the opposite. Like I think I'm a better real estate agent because I've moved so much, right?
Yeah,
Are you
understand?
Are you?
I'm from Long Beach, but we moved a time when Harold was playing ball in college, right? So we've been in Vegas and Oklahoma and a bunch of other places. So I definitely understand that feeling of being uprooted and moved somewhere consistently. I think that
you have the best of both worlds. I think you have the slam dunk answer where it's like I was born and raised here, I'm from here, but I have relocated and I know what it's like.
And came back home. Yeah, and came back home. Yeah. So okay, so got the baseball connection out of the way. You're amazing. You run a very large team of specifically, I believe, all women. Am I correct?
So used to be. We have a few men now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You need a little testosterone to balance it out a little.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but what we're going to talk about today, obviously, this is a relationship driven podcast, and you are all about the foundation of relationships, especially within your team. But what I really want to dive into today, as we go into 2023, is talking about as you mentor and train and coach all of these agents and have watched agents through very successful careers and I'm sure not so successful careers. We're coming out of the pandemic market. I'm officially just going to call it what it is, the pandemic market, where our hair was on fire and you literally could throw spaghetti at the wall and something would stick. And we all know that clients were looking for houses. They weren't looking for realtors. They weren't looking for trusted advisors. They really just wanted to get their house either sold in a day or find me a house, or I want to buy this one because you're sitting in it. We all know, you and I both know from doing this long enough, that's not normal. And usually you got to have a plan, you got to have systems, you got to have habits, you got to have routines. So what I really want to break down today is what have you seen in successful agents? How do they build their day, week, and month? What's their lead generation plan? What are their daily habits? What's their mindset like? And let's start there. So all the agents, all the successful ones you've dealt with currently right now, what kind of mindset do realtors need to have in this new market?
Yeah. Oh my God. I love this so much. So validating what you just said, I think we're absolutely we were in the twilight zone and it was awesome. not realistic. Now that we're back to normal, which is actually, I mean, in our market, this is back to normal. So I don't think whatever recession, blah, 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 we're headed toward. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole either, but right now the market is normal. Okay.
Yes.
So, and also it is, what is it? October 31st, 2022.
Yes. Yep.
So like those things could change in a week. So just putting
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think the thing that agents have in common, the great agents. So good agents are awesome, love them. The great agents, the ones that really, really get it, are going to be the ones that are like a dog with a bone when it comes to any kind of lead or real estate opportunity.
Yep.
And it's something that's really challenging to train and to teach. But it's not impossible to learn. If you don't have that like grittiness in you and like that resourcefulness, that like that do or die in you, you can learn it over time, and you can watch the agents that do have that. And that's an adjustment from an answer that I would have maybe given 5 years ago when I first started. I thought that it was like this like it factor that some people have and some people don't. But I've trained agents to fully like lean into it. And it's hard for a lot of people. And I'm saying that to like show grace to those that are not born salespeople. I hear this all the time. And I feel like you probably get this too. Like it's like a natural, like I think you and I both agree. We both have a natural like gift of gab and rapport building, whatever. But if you watch the great agents and how they build rapport and how they ask questions and how all that it comes down to is just having the eye on the prize and being like a dog with a bone with following up. Like that's it. That's real estate. Like if you recognize a real estate opportunity, I'll give you an example. So if you're hosting an open house, someone walks in, they're wandering around, you strike up a conversation with them. They mention that, they have a house that they'd have to sell. And, but they're interested in this one. They're just putting their feeler out. They, are not ready to buy today, but maybe, in the future. So a great agent takes that and goes, we have a live one. Now it's go time, right? Good agent goes, well, they're not ready right now. Does that make sense?
I'll call them in 6 months. They told me to call them in 6 months, so I'll call them in 6 months.
They said they weren't ready, right? Yeah. No, they said they were.
I don't want to bug them. I don't want to be pushy.
Right. Right. And I think it's just identifying the difference between being you just said it, like the difference between being pushy and being smart about building a career in this business. Like there's such an art to it. And if you watch the great real estate agents by shadowing them or by just watching how they have conversations, even within your own brokerage, like if you're a newer agent or if you don't have this like innate sales rapport building tendency, just having the mindset of the fact that you can polish that within yourself by watching the great agents, how they interact with each other. When you're on a showing with a veteran agent who's good at this, like just watching what questions they ask, watching what they listen for, watching the information that they don't jump in on.
Yep.
Right. Like how they're responsible with how their give and take. There's a total art to it. And I think right now that is probably the biggest thing that new agents need to learn, because in the hot market that we're coming out of, you didn't have to build rapport at all.
You didn't. No, you didn't.
I feel like we closed homes with buyers where like we don't know their kids' names, their dogs' names. We don't know where they grew up. And it really, like, if you take away one thing from this conversation, hear me say this, it really at my core bothers me that I don't know that about these clients, right? Mm-hmm. And when I say that, it's like because I didn't build the rapport. And so the great agents are the ones that where it genuinely bothers them that they haven't asked those questions, because it's like, does that make sense? Like,
we didn't spend enough time with them. We didn't spend enough time with anybody. We didn't have to do any of that, right? It was like, and you were on the hamster wheel of this real estate market that we came out of. And so that's my whole point. You didn't have to learn the dialogues. You didn't have to learn the sales skills. You didn't have to learn what to look for in people. You didn't have to learn to listen more than you talk. And that's basically what I'm going to summarize you just saying as is you need to listen more than you talk right now and hear the whys, the triggers, the things that you can take notes on to go back with them. Remember when we met at the open house, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, and you mentioned that this is why you wanted to move. This was really important to you. Is that still important to you? Let's create a timeline around that so that we can make that happen for you. Right. So I think the mindset is that it's not a short-term game anymore. It's a long-term game. And if I've heard one thing in my career that I cement in my mind is there's no such thing as a bad lead or a bad buyer or a bad seller. That person just isn't ready yet. Yeah. Right. And the yet can be tomorrow. It can be 6 weeks. It can be 6 months. It can be a year, for goodness sakes. But every lead is a good lead if they want to transact real estate. You just have to figure out how to stay in touch with them, follow up with them, like you said, dog with a bone until they do something or tell you that they never want to hear from you again, which, you know,
Yes.
is what happened to us in
Yes.
our career. Like,
Yes.
please
Yes.
leave me alone. Well, then you
Yes.
still shouldn't quite leave them alone. There's a way to balance that, but you maybe
Yeah.
want to back off a little.
No, it's so true. Like, show me where they asked you to stop, otherwise keep going. So I think that whole concept, all of that, right? That only works if you have the systems and processes in place to support
Exactly.
that. Because I
Exactly.
do not have the entire database in my head. I don't have it all on my phone. I don't have it on my computer. It all lives in our CRM. It lives in my notes. It lives whatever system it is that you're comfortable with using. Implement it and use it. And I think anyone listening to this that struggles with that, there's some good news for you. I didn't start doing this until like 2018, 2019. So until I was in the business for like 4 or 5 years before I fully leaned into taking advantage of a CRM and a database.
Oh,
And
let's talk about it.
yeah, so when I finally started fully using a CRM and a database, so and I'll tell you why, because it slowed me down. And I think the argument um, that a lot of agents make is that using a CRM will slow them down, or they have it in their head, or they've gotten
Yep.
by thus far, which is, I agree with that to an extent. When I started building my actual business, like my real business after 3 or 4 years, realizing that I'm going to make a career out of this, there is no flipping way on the planet that you can sustain a business on the long term by not having systems and processes in place. It
Exactly.
boils down to whether or not you can pull a list for holiday cards. Can you pull a list of birthdays? Can you, and all that stuff? It just, you have to do it. I think it's probably one of the biggest things that agents struggle with is, committing to using their CRM.
Yep.
So the whole dog with a bone mentality and the like your life depends on it follow up, you can only do that if you document things. And I hate it. I hate it so much. But I do it. And here's the good news for anyone listening to this that isn't doing this right away. You can start tomorrow. Like that you don't have to go back and like make your database, your entire database, put in every single client immediately. Like a lot of agents will say, or they'll give the argument of like, oh yeah, I have to do that. I have to do that. I have to do that. And it's like, just start with the people you meet tomorrow.
Yep.
And then eventually over time, you can add the ones that, as they come to mind, as your time allows, or hire a VA to do it. But my biggest advice is if you don't have a system in place, the awesome news is you can start right now.
Yep. Yep.
Start tomorrow.
So let me ask you this. The thing that I see agents lacking in, and specifically in my own brokerage, is they don't understand the power of having everything in one place for the most part, and the tracking of what you've done or did, right? So like, when's the last time, can you actually look in your CRM and know when's the last time you contacted a really good client that you should be in contact with every month? If you don't have a system to do that, you need to get one tomorrow, because what happens is, what I've learned is we call and we check in and we lead generate with the people we're comfortable with. So yes, we do it to our closest clients. I know, in my world, it's a lot of my friend database, and my past clients become my friends. Like I do life with them, and it's easy to call them because they're my friends. And you forget about those other really good clients you closed escrow with, let's call it 6 months, a year ago, who maybe aren't your best friend, but still need to hear from you because you did a great job with them. You had a great relationship. And if you actually stayed in contact with them, they might refer you, use your name again, or think of you when they need to buy real estate or sell real estate in the next couple of years. So what frustrates me is agents who think that writing it down in a notebook of everyone they talk to and flipping the page is going to be some kind of system. So what do you tell your agents when they're doing their lead gen, they're doing their calls, they're doing their check-ins with their database, whatever they're doing? What do you require them to do? What's a system on the Meyer Lucas team that is like, this is a standard we're going to do?
Yeah. Okay. So let me give this answer for, so on our, you just hit it on the head, like the comfort food are the ones that are like, they're already watching your Instagram stories and they're your hype people anyway, like bypass them. Like those are the ones that hold them dearest to your heart, but the ones that you need to be getting after are the ones that you haven't, like they're not going to use anyone else. The person that you haven't touched in however long is.
Exactly.
So on that. Yeah. I love how you just phrase that though, that it's the easy touch. And I think that it's the easy touch because A, the relationship is comfortable, but I think also B, that you have like an easy way of accessing them. Mm-hmm. The harder to reach fruit, if you will, a lot of times it's because we have closed them. They've bought or sold a home with us. And then we haven't reached out. So then it feels cheesy when we do.
Yep.
So having milestones in place, having a 30, 60, 90-day check-in in place after you close as like a mandatory check-in
Yes,
is
ma'am.
so important, so that you're demonstrating that when you do check in so then after that it's 6 months, and then it's
Yes.
the home purchase anniversary. And
We
then
literally have the same system. Ours is
that's
7
okay.
days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Then we go to 6 months. Then we go to 10 months for the home warranty call to remind them and talk to them if they want to renew their home warranty, because that's something a lot of
Oh,
or buyers miss. And then the home anniversary.
that's smart. That's really
7
smart.
times in the first year.
Yeah.
And
Where did
then,
we get
would
that?
you not agree? Through those check-ins, you're going to pretty much determine if they're going to be a rockstar client for life or not.
Yes.
After 7 check-ins, you kind of know where to place them in your how much business can I expect from this person world.
You rank your clients,
We
like
do.
tag.
We rank them 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We rank them just like a 5-star system. 5-star advocates. They are your raving fans. They are your walking, talking billboards. They're the ones that share every social media post, do everything. 4s are actually called advocates, right? They're good. They're good people. They're just not as quite as social and bestie friend as the 5s. The 3s are people you're very, very well connected to, right? And that's where honestly a bulk of our database lives. And then 2s are like more awareness, acquaintances. If you kind of stay in touch with them, maybe they'll raise their hand one day. And then 1s you shouldn't waste your time with. You just want to keep their information.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Dude, God, if anyone is listening to this that doesn't do that, oh my God.
You have to know who is on your airplane and who isn't. I had a coach once that described it as first class, business, comfort plus, whatever the heck you call it now, economy, coach, and then standby. And standby is they're not even on your airplane. Like they're just waiting out there, and they need to show you that they are interested in you more than just we closed escrow, 6 months ago.
We do this with all of our people in our database. So like my referral partners, we have them classified. We do ABCDF, ABCDF, yeah. Are like the sports agents, the financial advisors, like the ones where business is easy, where they're our hype people. And then I do it with my sphere too. So a lot of I'm pretty outspoken about this. Barb, you probably have seen me post about this before. But I post often that like I want my friends' friendship. I don't want their business. So by giving, and I've done this since day one, because for me, it's always been really challenging to close my friends in any sort of authentic way whatsoever. And it actually gives me tons of anxiety. Like if I'm at a friend's, kid's birthday party, I don't want there to be ever a shadow of a doubt whether I'm there for them and their kid or if I'm there networking, right? And I think it's cheesy as hell to like get offended if your friends don't use you to buy or sell real estate. Like that thing that our industry does around that is garbage, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, you talk about it in a way that makes sense, in a way that when you're at the party, you are not there as a realtor. Now, if they happen to know you're in real estate and ask you about real estate, of course you're going to talk about it. Who wouldn't? You would look silly if you didn't, like, oh, I don't talk about real estate at birthday parties. Like, you're going to have a conversation with them. But where it gets weird is when you make the social event about your business. And that's not what it's about. It's about documenting who you met with and who, like, I'm a big proponent, Holly, of your database doesn't have to know they're in your database. Right? Database. You don't say to some, it drives me insane that I was ever trained to like ask someone like, can I talk to you? No. But what I do is I take that person and I add them to my CRM as a reminder of I met this person, I like this person. I need to nurture and build a relationship so that then it's a Facebook check-in just saying, hey, was thinking about you. It was so much fun meeting you at the party. Like, would love to grab a cup of coffee with you one day or get to know you better or whatever it may be. But it's never about real estate. It's about building a relationship that ultimately will lead to real estate. So
yeah, totally. And it is valuable. I will say, so it is really valuable to have a database of people in your sphere. So genuine people in your social sphere tagged with where they live, where their address is. And here's why: if you ever have a for sale by owner that you're going after, or there's an expired listing, having someone that you can touch in with and say like, hey, do you know anything about this property? You have the owner's contact info. I have a buyer for them. Absolutely. And it literally, it only works. And I'm putting air quotes around that because there's no gimmick to it. There's no like it only works if it's authentic. And there's no even like it works behind it. Like it's just like you either have the person's trust and they're like I think our industry, the really, really great agents in our industry do this without even thinking about it. And the good ones overthink that.
Yep.
And the mediocre ones don't think about it at all, but we're not talking about them. We're talking about the good agents and the great agents.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so having your sphere, we started recently tagging our, like my personal friends, my agent's friends, ones that we know are never going to do business with us because their cousin is,
Yes.
whoever, whatever agent, whatever,
Yes.
but still treating them as if they're an A client, because
Absolutely.
they're your hype girls. Some of my best hype girls, I have given full permission to never use us for real estate. And I wouldn't want to either because I love them. I
Yeah.
don't want to have like a tough conversation, right?
Well, the same thing goes when people tell you, when one of your closest friends does have a cousin, sister, whoever in real estate, aunt, uncle, insert whatever you want there. Sometimes they feel obligated to use them personally, but they would
Yeah,
never refer anybody to them. And I think people miss out on that opportunity as well, right? Like
yeah,
they may
that's
be
true.
like, oh my God, I have to use my brother's sister, but she lives, 2 hours away or hour away, insert however far away. She's not local to Long Beach or to Jupiter. Like we still want to send all our friends to you. We just need we have
Yeah.
we're getting a deal, and I don't blame you, right? They're
Yeah, totally.
gonna the
It's
family
so
discount.
powerful.
So
Well,
yeah,
it's
it really is.
so powerful. I wish more agents understood this. When you have a friend or a neighbor or whoever who is obligated to use their cousin, don't try to talk them out of it. Help them.
Yeah,
Like help them, offer to help them. Like,
yeah,
and obviously do not shit on the other agents like
exactly.
contract or their, like, you empower them and like
Be a
help them in
pro,
a
be
productive way.
a
Yes.
professional, be
Yes.
a doctor doesn't ever talk someone out of getting a second opinion when you're in the
Right.
office.
Right.
And they
Yeah.
certainly don't. They might say, I disagree with, or I have a different opinion on, but they're not going to put that other person down. And for whatever reason in sales, we have this persona of like, there isn't anybody else as good as us out there. And
Yeah.
that's just frankly BS, because there is
Yeah.
other really good agents out there. So
I agree.
okay, let's pivot to habits and routines. So your team, I know, is very laser focused on lead gen and doing the right activities. So what do you see working right now? What are the habits and routines that you're instilling in your best agents or in all of your agents so that they can be the best that they can be in this market?
So we have a program that I just started doing recently, that we're calling productivity coaching. I'm still ironing it out, but I'm going to talk about the agents that are in our productivity coaching track right now. And I'm kind of giving that disclaimer in case any of the agents on my team listen to this, like full disclosure, like this is what this is about.
Yeah.
Because the agents that are in productivity coaching, I have to say, are the ones that they are the ones that want it, that have eye on the prize. They're investing in, but in terms of their time, they're investing in their business, and this is what they do. So I have 14 different blocks in this productivity training program, and this is not unique for what we're doing, but I'm going to explain it just like this. So just stick with me here. So each of the blocks is a different track of something that you can do for 90 days to develop the habit of doing it consistently. And it's things
I
like
like that.
hosting open houses, hosting mega open houses, like the right way, right?
Yep.
It's calling expireds, it's calling FISBOs, it's going and previewing inventory, it's calling your sphere, it's calling your second layer sphere, it's calling past clients, hollering at financial advisors, like it's calling divorce lawyers
Right
it's all
now,
things, right?
calling the people that are going to actually still have people that need to sell real estate.
Right. So it's all of the things in real estate that we know how to do that will generate business. There are 14 different things in real estate that will generate business, in my opinion. So doing those things for me in real estate, what I have noticed after doing this now for, being a leader for 8 years, it's not 21 days or 27 days to learn a new habit. It really is 90 days of consistently getting after it.
Yep.
We get so distracted in real estate by, all of the different, especially if you're a producer, all the different things involved with a contract. And, sometimes an individual client can derail your entire 30, 60, 90-day pipeline because they're taking up so much of your time, right?
Yep.
So focusing on one of those 14 things and doing it consistently. So for example, if you're on the expired listing track, if that's the block that you're doing for that 90-day productivity coaching session, you're calling expireds consistently over the course of each week. And each check-in involves how many you have called, and you either hit it or you don't. And again, that's real estate, right? Like time is moving forward constantly. Like we're constantly missing the next one and missing the next one. And the thing about real estate that's cool is that if you wake up tomorrow, there's going to be a fresh batch of expireds, fresh batch of for sale by owners, someone else getting pre-qualified. So not beating yourself up on what you didn't do yesterday or the day before, just tabula rasa, drawing a line in the sand and moving forward for the next day. I'm big on forgiving what we did the day before and just focusing on what we have. So going forward from today, like I don't want to hear about what you missed yesterday. Let's talk about how we're going to move the needle today.
Love it. Love it. What are you seeing as far as agents with their calendars and their, time management? Although I don't like the word time management because I don't believe you can manage time, because you just said it, you can't, right? For me,
I
it's all
agree.
about managing your priorities. Like priority management, I can do. I can manage the priorities. I can manage the things on my calendar. I can't stop it at 4 o'clock because I have 15 things I'm supposed to be doing at 4 o'clock. Like I don't know how to do that.
I agree.
But what do you see agents doing in the time management area, calendaring? What does a good, successful producing agent do right now?
Okay, so I agree with you 1,000,000%. It's refreshing hearing you say that. I don't know that I've heard anyone else say that. I'm obsessed with this. Time management is garbage to me because,
Garbage.
right. So, and time blocking, I think is too. And let me qualify that. I think that having between, so, okay. So if you have between 9 and 11, you're going to be prospecting, and that's when you prospect, right? And you have to get it in. You have to get 2 hours of like 2 power hours in, let's say.
Yep.
But then something goes sideways with the deal, and you're now dealing with that between 9 and 10, but you have on your calendar that you're going to do something else at new, whatever. Staying flexible and staying nimble with your
Yes.
calendar has been how I've made most of my money. Staying nimble, staying flexible, and with the eye on the prize, right? So I'm still going to get that 2 hours of prospecting in, but now I'm going to make adjustments based on what happened in derailment.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
I love the notion of a schedule iceberg. So if you know for sure that you have to pick up your kid at 3 o'clock and it is
Yep.
non-negotiable, you have to go get the kid, right? That is an iceberg in your schedule that's non-negotiable. So backing up from it, knowing that you have to leave the office then at 2:30, or you have to be done with the showing at 2:30, and then backing it up, meaning you have to wrap up what you're doing at 2 realistically, and then backing that up even further, knowing that 1:30 comes around and you're already thinking I have to be done by 2. Like
Yep.
backing out where your energy is going to be, I'm huge on this, knowing where your energy is going to be most productive. Your most productive session, whatever it is that you're doing, might be between noon and 2. And you have that hard stop at 2, even though you're going to be there at 3, right? And then you get the kid and that, or if it's the gym, or if it's, whatever it is, that the half hour afterward and the hour afterward, like your energy might be kind of zapped. You might not, you're sweaty and you can't go, or you have your kid with you now, whatever it is, using the icebergs and really making your flow, like your current, go around the iceberg to make sure that you're using your highest energy for the activity that matters the most, and defending that time in your schedule like your life depends on it. So if you're prospecting, I just use the example of like if you're prospecting and a buyer does something weird and you have to deal with it, does it like asking yourself, if I deal with this now, I have the iceberg in a couple hours, do I have to deal with this now? And sometimes the answer is yes.
Yes.
But a lot of times it's no.
Yep.
Knowing
Absolutely.
that your energy is going to be zapped in the next hour or so. And then does it make sense to deal with that when you're on your way to go get your kid on the phone? Yeah, probably.
Yep. Yep. Well, you said it's time blocking with flexibility, because I don't know how else to say it than time blocking. It's putting in the priorities for the day on the calendar, because I can't tell you how many times agents will tell me, well, I just know I need to lead generate every day. No, then you're not doing it. I can tell you you're not doing it. And lead generating in between 15 other appointments is not lead generation, right? Following up in between appointments, because you need to call the client back that you told yesterday you'd check in with them midday about a problem, a fire, a solution, whatever it may be. That's following up with people. But to say that I'm going to lead generate every time I'm in the car driving around in between showings, no, you're not. You think you are, but you're not. What you're doing is you're probably calling your friends, right? That's what I used to do. I used to be like, oh, I have to make so many calls today and I've only made 5. So I'll call 5 more people, but it's going to be all my girlfriends, right? And that's not lead generation. And so, but sitting down and understanding that every Tuesday in my calendar from 10 to 11 is lead generation. Well, if you get a listing appointment and the only time the seller can meet is 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, you better take that freaking listing appointment. Like, don't be stupid.
Right.
Move your lead generation to another time. Or like you said, that iceberg time, like, okay, it's 3 o'clock, your hair's been on fire all day, you didn't get to your power hour, and now you're picking up the kid. You need to have some kind of moment in your day where you stop and reflect back on, what did I actually get done that was on this calendar, and what needs to either get done this afternoon or evening, or maybe it's you need to do 3 hours tomorrow. Like, this is real life, you guys. This is how it works.
Yeah.
But if it's not on your calendar alerting you, and if it's not on your calendar reminding you, you are not probably driven enough. Very few people are driven enough to just do it no matter what.
Oh, it's so true. I mean, I said that at the beginning, like I've learned really real tough pill for me to swallow is that, again, some people have it, some people don't. And that's baseline, right? Like, I think it's fair to say you and I were born with it. and that's that, right?
We were.
People were, you know what I mean? Like just the
really
desire,
true.
it's like that competitive with yourself desire, whatever. But it can be taught and trained, and it's
Yes.
habit forming. So talking about atomic habits, I mean, that is like, if you look at the top producers in your office or in your market
Yes,
and
ma'am.
just watch them, watch how they communicate, watch how they move, watch how they plant the seed and then follow up later.
Yes.
All of it is
Yes.
that dog with a bone grittiness that you can do too if you care enough. And so
Absolutely.
then it becomes a question of, do I care enough to build this habit over 90 days
Mhm.
or not? And
Yeah.
if the answer is no, then be a good agent, not a great agent.
Yeah.
And I will say, so one really tough pill that I've had to swallow is that there are people, and especially within team environments, I've had them come through my doors, um, that are okay with being good agents, and they are good agents.
Yep.
They're not great go get, and I think forgiving yourself and being at peace with being a good agent, a really good agent, is fine. I
Yep.
think a lot of agents, because of the hustle culture that we're in, a lot of agents get really swept up in wanting to be the like $1 million agent selling sunset, Holly, Meyer Lucas, Barb Betts, and they can't. I mean, I'm being completely honest with this. Like, they send me these DMs, I'm sure you get them too, where they want so badly to be like a top producer, and then they get in it and they see how hard it is. And it's hard. It's really, really hard work.
It is hard.
And it doesn't happen unless you do the work. So you're either going to be okay with being a good
Exactly.
agent, or you're going to grind it out and become a great agent. There's
Well,
no other.
I think the way that I like to classify it is there are people that are good real estate professionals. They are good at what they do. They take good care of their clients. They know the contract inside and out. They fight, they defend, they're good negotiators. The difference is, are you just a good agent, or are you a great business person?
Yeah.
Because the business person is the one we're talking about, that hustles, that puts things in their calendar,
Yeah.
that understands that we are in the lead generation business. I tell this story every stage I step on. I tell the realtors in the audience, if someone would have told me in 2002, while I was getting my license and was licensed in 2003, if someone would have told me two things: one, that real estate is a sales business and you are a salesperson, or that this is a lead generation business and your number one job every day is to lead generate, I never would have become an agent.
That's so funny.
And that is the
True.
difference. Barb in 2005, 6, 7 was a really good agent.
But I'm filming
Barb in 2022 is a really good business owner, and there's a difference.
Yes.
And that is where the
so
hustle
true.
That's
It's
where
so
the
true. And I would argue that
organization
when I was giving that answer about the CRM, I think that, and I've never thought of it like this, I'm going to steal your words here. I think
Go for
that
it.
I was a good agent up until that point. And then I realized that if I wanted to, I mean, it's funny, you just totally led me down this path. When I decided to make this my business and my career,
Yes.
I started with the systems and processes.
I-
And honestly, it's a decision that you kind of have to make. Like, you either are, and I would
in
argue
it
that,
or you're not.
well, and I
You're
would
in
say
it
too that,
casually or you're in it committed. I mean, it's
yeah,
one or the
totally.
other.
Totally. And I think it's like, it's a decision that I think should be, and I'm saying it like this because I work with a lot of women who give up careers to get into real estate, and they
Yep.
want it so bad. And God love them for it. Like, I would say 99% of them become great agents, right?
Absolutely.
The 1% that end up deciding that it's just not for them, it's 100% okay, because it's hard.
Totally.
And sometimes it's really, really deflating. And I think that having the grace to like forgive yourself for not wanting to be up at, I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I can't help myself. I'm on Instagram DMing people, and like, I can't help it. So you either have it or you don't. And if you do have it, awesome, cool for you. If you don't have it, you can learn it, but you
Absolutely can
have
learn
to
it.
develop the habits. You have to.
Yeah. What turned me on to all of this and this concept and this mindset, and yes, you mentioned Atomic Habits, and that's what my team is reading for our retreat. It's right here. But the one thing that really clicked in my head about the whole Atomic Habits book was when they were talking about, like, if you haven't read the book, you should read the book. But if you haven't read the book, the premise of it is that, okay, now don't take what I'm saying literally, but the concept is, don't set the goal for the number of homes you're going to sell. Don't say, I'm going to sell 40 homes in 2023. Instead, what habits and systems would a realtor who sells 40 homes a year do on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis? And the reason that this made sense to me was my weight loss journey. I started a weight loss journey in January of 2021 because I got on the scale and I said, that's not going to work anymore. I don't like that number. I'm not comfortable. My clothes don't fit. I don't feel good in my skin. So I decided to get on Weight Watchers for accountability, and I bought a Peloton. And when I bought the Peloton, I made it a joke every day that I'm going to stay accountable to my Instagram following by doing a stupid freaking boomerang every day to music or to whatever.
I loved it.
Started doing it. And then I kept doing it. And now 2 years later, I'm still doing it every single morning. Now, did that boomerang make me lose weight? No, but it held me accountable to the habit of getting on the bike every day. And now I've realized I've lost the 40 pounds. It's no longer about weight anymore for me. It's that this is what healthy people do. Healthy people watch what they eat, drink alcohol in moderation, eat sweets in moderation, do everything in moderation, and they exercise every day. And what I've realized is the exercise isn't for weight loss anymore. It's for mental health. It's for mindset. It's for routine. It's because I get on that bike and then I read, journal, drink coffee. Then I get ready. Then at 8:30, I am ready to, as you say, slay the day, right? Then I am ready. So that habit of the Peloton created all these other habits to where now I can say I am a healthy person. I'm a healthy, fit, 40, almost 44-year-old woman versus overweight, unhappy, not healthy, not feeling good about myself, didn't have a good mindset, all the things. That is an understand that it's habits, systems, and routines. That's all it is.
That's it. That's exactly what it is. It's like the one that turns into the many, I love it. That's so cool.
Yeah. Okay. So as we wrap up, because this is so amazing. And the best part about this for me is I get to listen to it as many times as I want, which is what frustrates me because I don't take notes while I'm talking. And then all this goodness. So 5 things that a realtor needs to build into their routines for 2023 so that they can be a great business owner. What are top 5 things?
Okay. This is going to be a working list.
That's fine. All right. I love it.
First and foremost, the first thing that came into my head is figure out how to write effective follow-up emails.
Okay, we didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
So thanking people for their time, summarizing the meeting, identifying the next steps, and sending them off with an anecdote. I think that one of the most important things that you can do as a real estate agent is align yourself with how the corporate world functions. And there's not a meeting on the face of the earth in corporate America that doesn't get a follow-up email. So we all need to get with the program on that.
Great idea.
Harnessing the power of your calendar. So the literal technical, meaning the technical aspect of it, right? Like leaning into using your location and identifying how long the commute is going to be. It's mind blowing how many people don't do this. And also how many people don't involve the lender, the title company, the other agent, your client in on your calendar invites. And how do you use an alternate calendar?
Google.
Yeah. So for this podcast, right? Like first thing this morning, I looked at my calendar, plotted out my day, saw that I had a certain amount of time to get my life together because this is a video, right? The amount of time that I saved so I logged into this right at the hour, on top of the hour, because it was right there on my calendar, right?
Yep. The link was there. The invite was there. The 5-minute reminder.
Little bitty bit of time. So like location, for example, like if you're doing a bunch of showings, being able to tap into that location immediately.
Yes.
Super low hanging fruit. Okay. Yes. So 2 gimmies, or 1 and 2 were kind of gimmies. Let me give you a third. So being fully prepared for your open houses. So hosting open houses as a non-negotiable, you have to host open houses. I don't want to hear about how they don't work. It's secret saucy for us, but being fully prepared for them. So not wasting the time by not having the proper sign-in sheet, by not being prepared to follow up. I always tell my agents, you schedule the open house in your calendar for the 2 hours that you're going to be there. And then the subsequent hour where you sit in the house and follow up. And we'll tell our sellers sometimes, hey, we're hosting the open house for 2 hours, but I want to spend the last hour gaining feedback. I want to make sure that I have all my ducks in a row. Can I have your Wi-Fi code to sit there and work for a second? And also, please don't come home and distract me. I need to follow up with these people.
Yeah.
And you sit there and you bang it out and you're done. And then you walk out the door with 10 potential clients instead of getting in your car, going and getting an ice cream or whatever the hell you're doing, right? And showing up at the open house early too. Showing up early, doing the pre.
Yes.
Right.
Not being there at 12:59 and opening the door while you've got a line of people outside.
Right. I would say, and again, it's October 31st, 2022, knowing how to holler at expireds. Expired and canceled listings. If you go back in your MLS, there are a lot of unhappy people, guys. A lot of unhappy people. In fact, I would argue I have 2 or 3 expired or canceled listings that fall under this category because we were moving too fast, we weren't thinking clearly, and we didn't deliver. So
Yep.
even the great agents have this in common. There's low-hanging fruit in there from
Yeah. Yeah. You know, you're right. I mean, you're as long as you're understanding that calling someone now, I don't know what we need to do a lot of more conversations with you specifically on open houses and maybe on expired. Cause I will say that's not something I've ever been great at in my career.
Really?
No, I've never even focused on expireds, to be quite honest with you.
That's fine.
So something I definitely need to learn so that I
Oh, I
can,
could host a clinic on
educate my team. So yeah, you're gonna, just so you know, just stay tuned,
that. Do
everyone.
it.
You're all gonna fall in love with Holly, but you're gonna have to come back because she's gonna do a clinic on expireds. Okay, so what's
I'm
number
so
4?
happy to do it.
We could talk for another hour if we start
I
talking
know,
about
right?
expireds.
Okay, so that was number 4. Wait, that was number 4,
No,
right?
that was number 4. No, that was number 3.
Wait,
Oh no,
email?
that was number 4. You're right. That was number 4.
Number 5 is going to be, oh, I love this one. I say this all the time. Agent to agent relationships.
Oh,
Do
yes.
not throw your agent brethren under the bus.
Yep.
Don't
Be afraid to be friends with them on Facebook.
Don't slay a relationship and burn the bridge in the interest of whatever happened during that deal. Oh my God, I cannot even begin to explain how important it is that you have agent to agent relationships in your market. The hot market that we just came out of is fully evidence. The evidence is there. Like how many off-market deals did you get done because you have a relationship across town?
Absolutely.
A lot.
Or how many offers did you just get accepted because the agent has a
Yes.
relationship with you and knew that you're going to get it done? You have a rock star TC, you have a great lender, they've done business with all of us before, and most importantly, they know that we're going to work on the win-win side of things and not make it about either of us, because it's never
Yep.
about either of us, it's always about the client. Absolutely.
And those 5 things that I just said are all free.
Right?
Free. Just invest the time. I am obsessed with this. The time as, okay, so if you're a real estate agent, if you are running a real estate business, which is what everyone should be doing, or is doing, right?
Yep.
Think of your time as almost the bigger commodity to your money.
Yep.
So the commodities are your time, your energy, and your money. And your money will come, it'll go, whatever. But your time is so specific. There are only 24 hours in the day.
Yep.
So freebies are a time investment. So give them the time that they're due and invest the time that they deserve.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to the calendar, the one thing I'm really passionate about that I believe is part of the problem with agents who say they time block, but it doesn't work for them, right? And I did just put both those in air quotes for the people that are just listening. When they say I time block, but it doesn't work, it's because you're not following it. And it's because you don't have your phone and your alerts set up properly. And I teach that agents need to not only have alarms going off 15 minutes before, 5 minutes before, 10 minutes before, whatever. Some people need a 30 and a 15, whatever you need. But your calendar alerts need to be persistent, which means they don't go away unless you clear them. That's why it's not working for you, because it says to lead generate at 10 o'clock. And maybe you are still on a showing. Maybe your calendar did get a little bogged down. Maybe I'm not ready to film that video at 10 o'clock like I thought I would. But at 10:30, when I finish up what I'm doing, or when I get off the podcast or whatever I'm doing for the day, that 10 o'clock appointment is still showing on my calendar. And if you don't set up your calendar that way, it's going to disappear. And unless you open up your calendar again, you're not going to see it.
Oh, I love that.
You have to put use every bit of technology that you can use to manage your day, week, and month is always my thing, is like, use the tools that are already there. They're there for you. You just have to learn how to set them up so that you can see.
I think one thing to get in the habit of too is if you know that, like I do this, I have time blindness, man. Like it could be, you and I could be sitting here.
I'm perpetual.
A lot of people with ADD, ADHD have it. And I figured this out like a couple years ago and it's been a total game changer. So knowing that about myself, what I do is any showing, any interaction I have, I actually didn't do it just now because I don't have something on my calendar looming right after. But usually I will communicate. I have a hard, like just to give you a heads up, I have a hard stop at 1.
Absolutely.
You're putting out into the universe so that the person you're with.
Yes.
And let me tell you, like, if you're a newer agent and you hear that and you're like, oh, I can never tell a buyer that because then they're going to think I'm not as important. Yes, you can, because you're saying you're important enough for me to be in front of you.
Absolutely, you can. Yes.
Listen, power through these. I have a hard stop at 1. And then you're respecting your own time and you're making them accountable for the alerts that you're missing on your phone.
Absolutely. Well, and it's like sitting down for a listing appointment and saying, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm sure you've had some agents come in here that spend hours with you. Just so you know, I've got to be out of here by 6:15 to go to wherever you're going next. they're going to totally respect you for it. And it's really nice to sit down for an appointment and know how long it's going to be, especially when maybe you didn't know how long it was going to be for. I've gotten on the phone with plenty of people and been like, I got 10 minutes. I got a call in 15. Like I do it to my daughter all the time. She calls me every day from college and I'll be like, okay, I got 10 minutes. Like, so I respect her as well. I don't want her to think halfway through the conversation, like, bye, mom's got to go. I always tell her when I get on the phone, I got 10 minutes.
Smart. That's
right?
Really smart.
You have to. Oh my goodness. Okay. I feel like we could go on forever and we will. I promise we're gonna have you back and we're gonna talk about open houses and expireds because I want to hear it all. You are absolutely amazing. Such a breath of fresh air.
You are. I want you on the podcast that I don't have yet.
You're going to be hold you accountable to the podcast that you don't have yet.
Yes, please. Oh my God, please.
So
please.
Funny. Okay, one last kind of just walk away with this. What's an affirmation you use or words you use that can help someone that's really kind of just struggling getting on their feet in this market?
Oh, I love that. And thank you for the opportunity to say this. If you are listening to this right here and now, you are already 5 steps ahead and you are going to slay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I believe that wholeheartedly. One of the things I'm really pushing in business planning for 2023 as I teach it across the nation is education. You have to learn. You have time to learn now. You need to shore up your skills. You need to learn the things that you didn't have a chance to learn when you got into this business because we were all running with our hair on fire.
Yes.
Now is the time to shore up the skills and learn and get better and grow so that you can be that amazing.
You just said this on a, that's so funny. I was speaking on something, last week. And I said that like, when I first started, if I had known, or if our community had the podcast and the audiobooks
videos and webinars,
you don't have to go, you don't have to spend money to go to the expensive events if you don't have it. Now, if you do have the money, go to the events. And by the way, go to network at the bar. Like, don't be doing go to the events, sit down.
Did you see me just perk up?
What?
You see me just perk up when you said the bar.
Yeah. Listen to go to the event, do right by your ticket, go to the event, listen to the speakers. Never
go to bed. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you have been amazing
at an event. Introduce yourself to me.
Yes.
Happy to chat.
She's very easy to find and spot. So where can they find you? There is
literally the last time I saw you was literally at a bar in a lobby.
I know.
I say not as I do.
She always has amazing shoes on, or she's running barefoot because her feet are tired. And barefoot actually is, she's barefoot right now, I'm sure. Where's the best place for everyone to find you?
Find me on Instagram, Holly Meyer Lucas, 3 words, and connect with me.
That's easy. That's easy. Well, thank you so much for being here. You have been absolutely amazing. For everyone listening, you want to share this with a friend. Leave us a 5-star review. Tell us what you enjoyed today about Holly. Most importantly, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, my dear friends, we will see you again very, very soon. Bye for now. Bye.